Hello, my name is Ronnie Phillips, and I am an educational consultant who enjoys working with young people and adults. And today I've decided to put together a three-part series on parent involvement and how parents from their home can guarantee that their children are successful in school. Before I get started, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about me. I'm an educational consultant who has spent many, many years in education, and I have worked several jobs in the educational field, from teacher, counselor, assistant principal, principal. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about me, but you can go to my website and go to rpedservices.com, and you can get more information about me and more information about parent involvement. Parent involvement is so important for our children. So important for our children, because what I've observed over the years is parents that are involved with their children, normally those children do well in school. And I'm mainly referring to getting off to a good start in elementary school. And there's a verse that I think is so important for what we're going to talk about from Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So if parents get involved with their children at the elementary age level and beyond, their kids or their children are almost guaranteed that they're going to be successful. And yes, I mean guaranteed that they will be successful. And I have seen it over and over again. Parents that are involved with their young people, parents that go to parent-teacher conferences, parents that make their children do things at home, those children, when they come to school, they're normally successful. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how you as a parent can do things at home to guarantee your children are successful. Part one today, we're going to talk about organizing your home for educational success. Yes, organizing your home for educational success. I don't know if parents understand that there are a lot of things you can do right at your house to make sure that your kids get some kind of educational development from home and they are ready when they go to school. And that is so important. From the day that child is born, you can begin to do positive things with your children to guarantee they're successful at school. And you've heard it over and over again. Reading to your children is so important. I'm going back all as far as in the womb. You can read to your children. It's so important. But there are a lot of things you can do at the younger ages and at the elementary school ages to guarantee your children are successful in school. And one of the big things you need to do is organize your home. Organize your entire house for educational success. And what does that look like? Let's begin by finding somewhere in your home that you will put what I'm calling a learning center. A learning center. Now, this learning center could be in a room in your home, or it could be in your child's bedroom. But it's important that you have certain things in that room to guarantee that your children can access these educational tools. And some of the things in that room should be naturally a computer. Internet is so important today for the research and things the children need to look up. They can do it right at home. Pencil and paper, that's important. You should also, and this should not only be in this one room, it could be throughout your house. You should have a bookshelf with books in that room. Children need to read. We know how important that is. I don't have to go over that right now because I have a session on improving reading skills with young people, which we will talk about at a later time. But you need books and bookshelves in your home, in that room, and you can have it in other parts of the house. Because the one thing I want you to remember is you're building an educational environment for your child. So when they come home, they understand that education is important. Now, in this room, you also, if you're using your child's room and they're really, really young, you could have things on the wall, letters, words. As they grow up, you will probably put some of their successful assignments from school on their wall. You could put certificates that they've earned, awards that they've earned, either on the wall or in a scrapbook, somewhere where the kids can observe them and know that they have been doing well, and you're proud of them. Part of building an educational environment is the parents have to be positive with their children and guarantee that that you're going to support them all the way through this educational process. And children love to have parent support, and they excel when parents support them. So you need to have all these educational tools around to show that you know how important education is, and then they'll reciprocate, and they'll realize that education is important because it's all throughout my house. Okay, and so this room is just one example of things you need to do to build this environment. You know, throughout the house, you could have pictures, positive pictures. You could have in your basement, you could have positive words, posters. Somewhere in the home, you could have awards that you have won, or certificates, or degrees that you have. It could be on the wall, it could be in a scrapbook. But what you're doing is you're showing children, your children, how important education is, and you're showing them by developing this environment. This environment is so important. You know, you want to make sure when they come home from school that they have somewhere that they can do their homework, somewhere where they can have some private time to concentrate. If you want your children to be successful, they have to be able to concentrate on what they're doing. So this educational environment or this learning center that you have is one place that your child can go and concentrate on their schoolwork, or concentrate on their homework, or spend some time reading. And these are all things that are part of this educational environment at home. Organizing this home, organizing your home for educational success. You may have magazines throughout the house, in the bathroom or wherever. You may have magazines throughout the house. You may have another good example of encouragement when your children bring their report cards home. You post them on a wall, or you put them on the refrigerator, so it's showing that you're proud of them. And if maybe they're not as high as, the grades aren't as high as you would like, but you can use that as to try to encourage them that you got to do better. But you're always trying to encourage them. You're always trying to encourage your children, because children need encouragement. And they need to see in that home, they need to know from the parents that education is important. And if they know that, they will do better in school. And when I say guarantee that your children will be successful in school, they will be successful in school because they see at home how important education is. They see the parent involved in making sure they have an environment that's conducive to education. And also, you do things outside of the home that contribute to this educational environment, such as taking your children to the library, a museum, a bookstore, taking them to educational events. And when you do that, the children are still learning. And it's still part of this educational environment, even though it's not in the home. So it's so important that at a young age, you develop this educational environment so children can see firsthand from their parents who they respect, they look up to, and they can see firsthand how important education is. Once you do that, you're developing your children. You're developing them to, when they go to school, they understand how important education is. Because in their home, they have some of the same tools that they have at school. They have some of the same tools. So that's really a plus. Also, in this environment, you need to start teaching them how to be organized. And this can happen by just having some simple calendar in this room or in their bedroom. A calendar, and teaching them how to put the dates down that their homework is due, or whatever assignments are due, or wherever they have to go, if they have to go to practice, whatever. You're putting all this in this calendar, and you're developing this child. You're developing and you're organizing them like you have to be organized. We all have to be organized. So why shouldn't your children be organized? You have to make sure that you're working towards developing a young person. And whether you want to believe this or not, you, parent, you are your child's first teacher. And you know how well you've done as a parent, as a teacher. So you are your child's first teacher. And you should think about that when you have children and you want them to be successful in school. Another part of this environment, this educational environment, is developing routines for your children. You should make sure your children have some kind of routines in their home, so they know what's expected of them. I learned a long time ago, if you make high expectations for children, they will try to reach those high expectations. So if you develop routines for your children, they will try to meet those goals and try to do those routines on a regular basis. And you will see your children develop confidence because they're doing something that you ask them to do constantly to a point where they feel confident in doing it. So let's have routines. What time you get up in the morning. We know that's a simple routine. What time you go to bed at night. What time are you going to eat each day? What time are you going to do your homework each day? You should try to have these routines where you do them pretty much the same time each day, and the children will get used to that. If you've ever been to a really good classroom teacher's room, you will see and you will notice that teacher has routines for their children. When they come in that classroom, they know exactly what to do. They know they have to sit down. They know where to get their pencils, their paper. They know if they have bell work or to-do assignments on the board. They know exactly what to do. They're organized and they have routines. Why not have routines in your home? Your children should know what's expected of them. They need to know what to do. If they don't, then they could get confused. So let's have some routines. And routines is not just educational routines. You need to have what chores are your children responsible for? Are they responsible for cleaning their bedroom or doing some other chores? I hate to say, but when I was younger, I had a chore. I had to wash dishes a week, and it was 5 of us, and we would all take a week to wash dishes. But that was a chore. It was a routine that we knew we had to do, and we just did it. And it became secondhand. Now I know how to wash dishes. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. You need to have these routines for your children, and they will develop. A very important routine of reading. When are your children going to read? You have to put that in the schedule as part of a routine, and ask your children to do this on a regular basis. Another important routine is, when are your children and how much are your children going to watch? Television. Television is very important because sometimes parents utilize the television to babysit their children, which is not a good thing. And allowing your children to watch TV 4 and 5 hours a day is not constructive. In fact, my recommendation, and you can modify this or do it what best fits you, but I think that children shouldn't watch television during the week and only in the weekends. And what that does is that means that you're going to have other creative things for your child to do throughout the week. Not only are they doing their homework, they could be part of some sports, they could be a part of some club, they could be developing music skills. I mean, something other than watching a television all the time. And if you do that, believe me, your children will be more all-around child, and they will have a lot more developmental things to do as opposed to looking at, as my mother or some people used to say, the ignorant box. Because sometimes we just allow children to watch anything on TV, and it's not really good. Now, there are some good things on TV. I'm not saying totally cut out television. I mean, there are some good educational programs children can watch, or some good comedies or something that you might want to watch, which is fine. And you should also allow your children to play sometimes. I'm not saying they shouldn't play. I mean, they are children. They should have time to play and be creative and do things. They should do all that. But you make sure that you have some positive routines for them in that home. Because like I told you at the beginning, you're developing an educational environment where your children can be successful in school and beyond. And if you do all these things, these routines, this home that's conducive to education, you will see your child develop, because they will understand how important education is, and they will see how important it is to you. And if it's important to the parent, it's important to your children. So you need to make sure that you're part of this environment, and you may sit down and read with your children during the week, or you may sit and play games with your children during the week. And that's fine, because you're developing this relationship in addition to this environment, and you're being positive. And then you will know what your child needs and what their child needs to improve. You will find out, because you will spend a lot of time with your children. And being a successful parent and having successful children means that you need to spend a lot of time with your children. And as they grow older, you won't have to spend as much time doing some of these things, because they have already developed a lot of skills. And I have found out that children that get a lot of developmental skills, academic, or it could be in the home skills, when they get older, they don't have as many problems. If you contribute to developing that foundation at home, you develop that foundation at home, and that child goes to a good educational environment, then at a young age, your child will excel. And when that child gets to high school and beyond, they won't have problems. So that's why I'm doing this video, but I'm trying to make sure parents understand how important it is to be involved with your children at a young age, and to develop that home as an educational environment. And once you do that, you are on the way to raising successful children, and they will be successful at school. If you want some more information about this topic, I did write a book called Parent Involvement is Non-Negotiable. And if you go to my website, or you go to Amazon, or wherever, you can get the book, or you can get information about the book, whatever you want to do. I try to provide as much information to parents as possible, because I know throughout the years working in the educational field that how important it is for parents to be involved with their children. So this part 1 series is over, and the next part 2 will be coming within a month. Thank you.